Hey guys, before we go ahead and get into EQ4 with function notation, just wanted to go over a few things with you. So first of all, have you taken the EQ3 quiz over domain and range? If your answer is no, you need to do so immediately. Your quiz should have been completed on Tuesday. Once a CRADF closes, it's over. You cannot keep going. I can't just leave quizzes and tests open. That's unfair because the kids in class have to take it on the day, so I'm trying to make it equal for you guys. If you would like to take a retake, okay, as long as the test is still open, you're welcome to go in there and take it again. However, I strongly recommend you review domain and range by going back and watching my videos or going into last Friday on your timeline and looking over those review activities that I gave you. Otherwise, once I close it, I will give an option for retakes and put a new code up. A lot of people sent me remind messages about two of the questions on the EQ3 quiz. It was the one that just said the list of outputs, the list of inputs. Those were word wall questions. Okay, so the only two word wall words we had for EQ3 were domain and range. So for those, I was just looking for you to put the name of the definition, either domain or range. Which leads me to word wall testing. Word wall testing is next week, so you will be taking your word wall test at the beginning of next week, so make sure you know those words. And then benchmark testing will be the following week. Okay, so the last week before fall break, you will have your benchmark test. It covers EQs 1 through 4, and you will have a LHS Mastery study guide coming up soon. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with EQ4 today. So this is your last word wall word that you need to copy into your notebook. You should have 15 total. If you do not, you can go to my website on the LHS website and click on word wall. So function notation is the name of EQ4, and it's also your last word wall word, a way of representing functions algebraically. So make sure you pause your screen here and add this to your notebook. I'm going to recommend that you take notes today and do examples. It'll mostly be examples, and you can, again, please do this in your notebook. Eventually, you will be heading back into class, and you will need that notebook. So with EQ4 function notation, pull up my highlighter. What I would like you to write down, of course, this is your title, EQ4 function notation. And then I want you to put this in there, okay? F of x is how this is read, where f is the name of your function. So this is function f. And then whatever's in parentheses right here, that's your input. Okay, we're going to be inputting something there. And we read this f of x. Or if it had, the function was named g, it would be g of x, h of x, j of x, and so on. So we're just going to jump in with examples today because that's really the best way to teach this. So go ahead and copy this example into your notebook, and again, at any time you can hit pause to do that. So if f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 2, find f of negative 3. So hopefully what you're going to notice is that this is f of x. It wants you to find f of negative 3. So we're going to take negative 3, and we're going to put it in everywhere we see an x. So we're just plugging in here. So I get f of negative 3 equals, every time I plug in, I'm going to use parentheses. I recommend that you do the same. Negative 3 squared minus 4 times negative 3 plus 2. All right? So then f of negative 3 equals, negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3, which would be positive 9. Negative 4 times negative 3, excuse me, is a positive 12. And then we still have plus 2. And then we're just going to combine these together. So 9 plus 12 is 21, plus 2 more is 23. So f of negative 3 equals 23. So again, into function f, I plugged negative 3 in place of x. All right, example 2, g of x. So this function is g, and I need to find g of 4. G of 4. So I'm going to take 4, I'm going to plug it in everywhere I see an x. So g of 4 equals negative 3 times, I'm going to put in my parentheses, 4 minus 7. G of 4 equals negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 minus 7. Combine like terms. Okay, both signs are the same, a negative and a negative. So I'm going to add 12 and 7 is 19 and keep my negative. So G of 4 equals negative 19. All right, example number 3. So again, continuing the same way. And again, I recommend that you write your pause, write your example down, and then do the steps along with me. And if I'm going to fast for you, you have a pause button, so slow me down. Okay? All right, so if f of x equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 1, find f of 2. So we're going to take 2, and everywhere we see an x, we're going to plug it in. So f of 2 equals 2, and then as soon as I see that x, parentheses, 2, close parentheses, and I still have my squared. Minus 3, there's an x, so parentheses, 2, plus 1. Okay, f of 2 equals 2 times, I'm going to keep it in parentheses right now, because 2 squared is 4, okay, and then I'm just going to bring everything down, and I'll work it out at the same time. If I can show you step by step here. All right, so 2 times 4 is 8, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and then plus 1. So 8 minus 6 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So f of 2 is 3. And I didn't say it, but you can use calculators if you need to on this standard. This is a calculator standard. All right, so now we're kind of upping the game a little bit. So this time we have find h of 8 minus g of 1. And then it tells us up top h of x equals 2x squared minus 6, and g of x equals x squared plus 2x. This looks harder than it is. It's really just about the function language that it's written in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find h of 8. So we're going to take 8, we're going to put it in function h everywhere there's an x. So I've got h of 8 equals 2 times 8 in parentheses squared minus 6. Okay. So h of 8 equals 2 times 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64, minus 6. H of 8 equals 2 times 64 is 128, minus 6. So h of 8 equals 128 minus 6 is 122. And again, you can use a calculator if necessary. All right, so there's h of 8. The next thing I'm going to do is find g of 1. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to say g of 1 equals, so x squared plus 2x. So 1 squared plus 2 times 1. So g of 1 equals 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times 1 is 2. So g of 1 equals 1 plus 2 is 3. Then I need to go back to my original problem. So my original problem said h of 8 minus g of 1. H of 8 minus g of 1. So h of 8 ended up being 122 minus g of 1 was 3. So now that I found h of 8 and g of 1, I just subtract them. So 122 minus 3 is 119. So it's kind of like a puzzle. You need to do each piece and then put it all together. All right, so switching gears a little bit. So now we're going to find x when f of x equals. So this is a little different than what we were just doing. So now, excuse me, guys. Now it says if f of x equals 5x minus 1, find x when f of x equals 14. So notice now we're not saying f of 14. We're saying f of x is 14. which means I'm going to take the entire f of x and I'm going to replace it with 14. So let me erase the screen here. All right. So whenever it says f of x equals a number, that means you're replacing the entire thing. So it's kind of like replacing y if it was y equals. So I'm going to say 14 equals 5x minus 1. Because it tells me f of x is 14. This whole thing is 14. I'm not just inputting 14 anymore. And then I just solve like a regular equation. I'm going to draw my line. I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 14 plus 1 is 15. Bring down my 5x. Divide both sides by 5. 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So when f of x equals 14, x equals 3. Because this time I was finding x. Okay? Should have time to do one more for you. So if g of x equals 3x minus 7, find x when g of x is 14. So it's telling me my entire g of x now is 14. So I'm going to replace it and solve. 14 equals 3x minus 7. Draw my line. Need to get x by itself, so I'm going to, add 7 on both sides. So negative 7 makes 0, so I have 3x left over here. 14 and 7 is 21. Divide by 3 to get x by itself, and x equals 21 divided by 3 is 7. Okay, so 7 is equal to x. Okay, so we're not going to do example 6 yet. I just want to kind of review what we talked about today. So when you have f of a number, okay, f of a number means plug in. So if I had 2x plus 3, okay, then I would take 3 and I would plug it in for x. However, if I have f of x equals 3, then I'm going to replace the entire f of x. So if this said f of x equals 2x plus 3, I'm going to replace the entire f of x. 3 equals 2x plus 3. Okay, you got to know the difference. This is just my input, so I'm inputting it. This is my whole function, so I'm replacing the entire function. Okay, basically this is replacing x, this is replacing y. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will make a second video for you to continue. Have a great day.